Hey there guys, EctoMaster here. It's Sunday morning, so we're doing another case file. I know it's been a little bit of time. And we're looking at a game that I am currently playing on the channel, which is The Sims 4. So, what are we going to look at here? I'm just going to kind of give the rundown, my thoughts on the game itself, and where I think it's doing really great, where I think it's going wrong, and we'll take a look at pretty much all of that. So to start off with, this is just one of the Sims that I have, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to throw her model up for grabs on the Sims 4 community. So if you're playing Sims 4, you can grab Evelyn Barnes here, or you can also grab EctoMaster and Jessica Butler, which are from the series that I'm doing as well. So with that having been said, let's talk about Sims 4. Basically, I was excited about this because I saw all the stuff that was coming out and how great the new Sims looked, and the fact that instead of having sliders all over the place, you're not worrying about that. You're grab and go and push and pull and all things like that, which is fantastic. I absolutely love it. But there are some things about this game that that are absolutely great. There are some things about this game that are just, it really just kind of makes you scratch your head and go, wow, really? So, one of the cool things that I absolutely love about this game, I will go ahead and say it, is the pro gamer career. Of course, where you can become an pro esport gamer, and you can live stream, and it just creates like this meta moment in the game where you can be live streaming your sim, playing The Sims while you're live streaming yourself playing The Sims. It's just kind of like a meta. It's like Simception is what I've been calling it, Simception. With that being said, the career choices, although are rather interesting looking and fun looking, it kind of leaves you scratching your head a little bit on their choices. Like, there is no athlete choice, but you can be a bodybuilder. You can aspire to be a bodybuilder like Evelyn in this is. There is no business, career, but you can be a business-minded sim. And that just kind of, it scratches your head a little bit about that. The desires, I guess for lack of a better word, that the little thought bubbles over her head over there. I like the emotions. She's uncomfortable. Why is she uncomfortable? Well, two reasons now at the moment. The food that she cooked was not the best quality type of food, and from working out, she's sore. So she's uncomfortable from that. If you sit around and here we can see, we saw that a look at the types of careers that you can go. If you're looking at, say, she can get flirty, and if she feels, more, she'll want to be flirty. You could, she's energized right now from working out, that type of thing. And that's pretty cool. I like that. I just don't like, and I like the desires. It kind of keeps it with The Sims 3, how they did that, if you remember watching it. Where they turn around and they can desire to have this, that, or the other thing, and you can save them. For the most part, they'll stick around unless you get rid of them, and then you can actually get some new ones. In Sims 3, at some point they would just disappear anyways. The aspiration part of this is really nice, in the fact that in Sims 3 you could aspire to be, here, we'll use say this was in Sims 3. You could aspire to be a pro gamer. And once you achieve that, boom, it was locked in, and you were a pro gamer. And it would just be epic. And it would be platinum, and it would be fantastic. And the only way to change that would be to spend points like I just got there, the 50 points that I can use towards traits and other things, to get rid of that and change your whole aspiration and start all over again. In this, you can get all the way up to the pro gamer thing. Again, I'm just using it as a slight example. It's not actually what's in game, but I'm just using it from kind of off the top of my head here. You can aspire to be a pro gamer, and once you've reached that, you can then select a new aspiration, and you can continue with something new. And I like that. I actually do enjoy that. I think that was a great touch that they put in there. The only thing that I don't like is, I like, like the loner aspect, It's great for playing a sim that is all by themselves. Otherwise, any other sim is going to need that social interaction, and you have to interact some way, some shape, somehow with another sim. Not that it's a bad thing, but if you're just playing one sim by themselves, it is, for the easy route. Playing one sim is easy. Playing two sims isn't hard, but the more sims you get, the harder it becomes because you have to keep track of everything. But that's always been The Sims. It's always been like that. So here's Evelyn, and she's kind of, she's wanting to chat, so I send her out to just some random person to chat. Now, the one thing that I don't like is, and it actually took me quite a bit of time to figure out, because it's not explained very well. The tips are one thing, and like Sims 3, they would pop up and like, do you want to do the tutorial? And you select, no, I don't want to do the tutorial because I know what I'm doing. I played Sims before. But every now and then they may have a tip that pops up and goes, hey, by the way, this is your first time doing this. Here's a tip, and you can just get rid of the tip. In this, you actually had to kind of almost hack the game. It wasn't like hacking. You could actually, they told you how to do it to get rid of the tips. But at the same time, they didn't, by doing that, they don't include some of the more, maybe needed tips. So, for example, in one part of this, it took me a long time to figure out that when I clicked on their little portrait while they were at work, I could actually select them to do different things at work. And it would actually tell you, hey, if you do this, the sim might, you could socialize with your co-workers, but you may not be working as hard. You could slack off work and it would increase fun, but it could decrease job performance. You could work extra hard, which will increase your job performance, but increase your tension, that type of thing. Which it took me a little bit of time to figure out. The one thing that I do not like, it's almost twofold. I love the minimalized UI, but at the same time, the minimalized UI, there's just some things I wish were up constant, like their needs, or some other things that it's taken me, like there were times that I click on the one button and I mean to click on another. It's like, okay, I want to go into the gallery and the community, and no, I hit the save the household button, not the community, because the two buttons are kind of right next to each other when you're creating Sims. And I just wish it was a little more. I don't need it to dominate the screen. I like the minimal look, but I wish there was just a little bit more to it. The other thing I didn't like about this is that the camera controls are automatic to the new system, but there is a selection to go to the Sims 3 system, which personally I think is a lot better, which means you can use the right mouse button and the middle mouse button to move around in the lot. I do not know what the Sims 4 system is, only because I switched automatically to the Sims 3 system. And it's one of those where if you're giving me the option of the old system versus the new system, it's almost a no-brainer. I'm going to go to the old system that worked, rather than this new system that I don't know how to use. It would have been nice if they did give a tutorial on how to use the old system, but again, that tutorial is mixed up with the main tutorial and overall. So, and to see that tutorial, you have to debug or dehack what you put in, just so that you can take a look at it. One thing that I will say of note, it was definitely, because I've been playing around, it's definitely a lot harder to do two things. And by two things, I'm going to talk about customizing your Sims afterwards, if I were to, say, take Evelyn and have her bake a cake, and then have her eat the cake, and then have her bake another cake, and eat all that cake, she would eventually gain weight. But it does take a little bit more time. In Sims 3, it was a lot quicker. You could just have them eat ice cream all the time, and they would gain weight within a few hours. This one, it takes a little bit longer, maybe a day or two for its sim time, of course, to show up. Whereas working out also takes a lot longer than it does in Sims 3 to decrease their weight. So that was interesting. I also liked, because I played around a little bit in this. I had gotten a female sim pregnant, and they went to work. Look at that. The sim actually kind of did something. I don't know if you can select to go on maternity leave or not, but you can do that. They will go to work. And so right through the pregnancy, they will work throughout the entire time. I absolutely thought that was great, because a lot of time in the old ones, it wouldn't happen. Which leads us to the other issues with this, in that babies and toddlers are just in a crib, and you just kind of interact with that. Toddlers are non-existent in the game. The sim will go from being pregnant to having the baby to a child. And then from a child to a teen to a young adult to an adult to an elder. The one thing that I will say is rather interesting, if you're doing Create a Sim, you can actually make a child, and I checked this out myself. It's actually pretty cool. I like that they did this, and I don't believe it's a cheat that I have, mainly because all the custom stuff that I have is custom, like, clothing and hairstyles and things like that. But you can make a child of two same-sex couples. Or of a same-sex couple. And that, I think, is definitely interesting that you're able to do that. You can actually select two female Sims or two male Sims and make a child based off of their genetics. Now, one thing I did try to do is, if you take two Sims, and this happened in, I think, Sims 2 and Sims 3. And if you had a redhead and a blonde and they had a child, and then you had a brunette and a I just want to say black hair, because I don't know what else to call it. Black hair child, and the child for the brunette and the black hair was brunette, and the child for the redhead and the blonde was redhead, and then you tried to have the two of them have a child. It's either going to be redhead and brunette. I think it said brunette. It's either going to be redhead or brunette. It's not going to be blonde. They don't have and I kept on clicking it. I never saw a blonde or a black-haired child show up. So the recessive traits really do become recessive, and I couldn't see if they show up at any other point. So that was definitely something interesting, but I do like the fact that you can do same-sex couples with their own child. With children that look like the two of them combined. I thought that was pretty cool. With that being said, anytime you do a same-sex couple, it's either going to be a child or a teen, or any couple, actually. It's going to be a child or a teen if you're doing young adults. If you move on to adult, then you can make a young adult. And, of course, elders can make everything from child to adult. But that's about it. I do like how the Create a Sim is, where you can pull and tug and pull. I do miss some of the sliders, because sometimes I would be looking to do just adapt rather than take just adapt certain things, because I would like a certain look, and I don't know what that certain look is, because I don't know what the slider is at, because I don't know, because it's a pull and touch and pull type thing. So that does get a little frustrating from time to time. Although I do like the Sims that I have created. They're pretty cool. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. I don't like... There's a couple of things that I don't like. If there is a Sim in your neighborhood active, your super fast speed, like I am at now, as we can see, the numbers are just flying by. It goes fast, but it doesn't go that fast. If there is a Sim present in the neighborhood, it does not go this fast. As soon as a Sim shows up, it does slow down, and that can be rather annoying. Especially if your Sim is at work, you really can't do anything with them besides tell them how to work this. That you can't look at their stats, you can't look at anything with that sim, and you can set them up to do stuff for when they get back from work. But that doesn't mean that you're able to look at what you need to do. Like, do they need to take, I can't remember, do they need to take a shower or not? I do like, if it's getting drastic down in the bottom, like here it's showing that she's hungry, and now that she needs to take a shower, it does show you that. Hey, this is your most drastic need, this is what you need to take care of. And I like that, but at the same time, I wish that I could look at it while they're at work. It would just make things a little bit easier to understand. There have been some major bugs in this as well. One of the ones that I had, and I really didn't like, is quite a few of my Sims were merging with other Sims that were not even in the same world. Because you got two basic communities or whatever, or worlds if you want to call them that, and I had one Sim merging from one world with the other world, and you couldn't access. You can only access one in that world. It was very confusing. I had to delete quite a few families. Thankfully, EctoMaster and Jessica were not a part of that big mess. Otherwise, I would have had to restart the whole series over again because of just this one little tiny bug, and that was way aggravating, to say in the least, because I had families set up that were now merging, and I had a family of 4 Sims with 2 teenagers, and the adults were completely gone, and all that was left were the teenagers, and even the teenagers disappeared, and you couldn't click on anything. So I don't know what's doing that. Oh, as I take a drink. It's a very fun game, but not one I would recommend at $60. $60 asking price is way too much. There's still so much broken. There's still some things that are obviously missing from this game that will be put to good use. That we will see and get when the expansions come around. I haven't heard any news of the first expansion. I think they have quite a few bugs to fix in the first place before they do even any kind of expansion. But swimming pools aren't in here, and that was one thing, that everybody's, hey, what the hell, It was something that, they didn't provide review copies when this game first came out, so that was kind of like a big, whoa, wait, no review copies? So people couldn't even review it after, beforehand or take a look at it. The reviews all around have only been around 70%. Maxis and EA have gotten a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of flack for saying something like, hey, there can't be a Sims 5 without a Sims 4. And if you want Sims 5, Sims 4 needs to be successful. And people will turn around, and I will kind of stick with the developers on this, and Maxis and even EA on this. It actually does make sense. And you guys can give me flack for it if you want. I mean, yeah, there's things missing in this game. Yeah, there's things that, are missing from Sims 1, from Sims 3, that were in Sims 1 to Sims 3 that aren't in this game yet. And you can sit here and bash EA for DLC and expansion packs and this, that, and the other thing. But number one, they have been doing this since The Sims has come out, so I'm not sitting here playing, oh my god, how can this not have this, and this, it was in this, and they're gonna bring it, we know they're gonna bring it. The one thing that everyone keeps on going, though, is like, oh, look at that, they're making us buy Sims 4 if we want to have a Sims 5. Well, that's kind of logical. And, it's kind of like World of Warcraft. We can't have another expansion pack if this first expansion pack doesn't do well. Burning Crusade didn't perform well enough. Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, and Mists of Pandaria, and Warlords of Draenor probably wouldn't have happened because you need the money to back it first and foremost. So it needs to make, first and foremost, the game needs to make its money back, and then it needs to make a profit in order to fund for more stuff. And we could be off a bit of a ways before we see a Sims 5. Just got to keep in mind that, you know, the Sims series is, you know, just to kind of look at it, The Sims came out in February of 2000. Sims 2 came out in September of 2004, so nearly 5 years later. Sims 3 came out in 2009, so that was 5 years after that. And then Sims 4 came out in 2014, which is about 5 years after that. So the next game that the next iteration of The Sims, Sims 5, you're probably looking at 2019, 2020. If everything goes well for Sims 4. If nothing goes well for Sims 4, then no. They're not going to make it. Now, I'm not sitting here, I'm not getting any money from Access for saying this, or EA. I have voiced my opinions on how EA practices with Origin and all of that. There's a lot of things I don't like that EA has done, and I disagree with a lot. I'm just saying, playing devil's advocate here, it makes sense on what they're saying. Again, having played other things, you know, that there's... It shouldn't come as a surprise or a shocker to anyone that, oh, you know, if we want to do this, we have to have money to do it. If we don't have money to do it, then we can't do it. That's what they're saying. There are some things I wish that I would love to... There's some things I would love to see in Sims 4. Being a physically handicapped person, having only half of my right leg, I would love to see The Sims take a step forward and add more diversity in that direction. I've heard complaints, not complaints, I've heard the arguments that creating Sims as such is rather difficult, and I can understand where they're coming from, but I get that, but at the same time I really wish that they would move forward with that. Another thing I don't like it as well as I'm watching this is the fact that every time you go to a new lot, if you're going to visit somewhere, it is loading. It's almost like EverQuest. Every time I go to a new zone, I have to load. Which was different from Sims 3. You really didn't have to load. It would load, but it would load while in-game. And so you would see everything, and then you would load into it. It may take a few minutes to res everything up, but this, I think they're going for the minimalistic look and feel, using as little resources as possible. That's the words I'm looking for. So that's probably why we don't see that too often, on why they load every single thing that you get into. It's just something that eventually I hope they solve and take care of, as there's quite a few things that could prove to be their downfall. Other than that, guys, that is everything that I have for today. I don't really have anything else. I'm enjoying Sims 4, and I'm going to continue with Jessica and Ecto, me, until something happens. I don't know what, but something will happen. And so, until then, I will see you guys next time.